Hi everyone, and welcome to another. In this one, I'm just going to take a very brief look at something which probably needs expanding upon in a larger video once maybe I've done a bit more research into it. And that is the science and science fiction of Elite Dangerous. Because, as we know, Elite Dangerous combines both elements. There is the science side, in that we have all the planets of our solar system in this galaxy. We have all the stars that we're aware of, plotted and mapped here, that are visitable. We have the black hole at the center of the galaxy, which we theorize is there based on the data that we've seen. And it would appear that the stars that we do know of and that are all plotted here are all in their right places, so any budding astronomers can in fact use the star map in Elite Dangerous, or the sky here that we see, to decide and find out where they are, which is pretty much how the alien ruins was discovered. And that is something that I find extremely impressive, because there are many space games out there. Some have come out because of Elite, because of the popularity of Elite Dangerous, I would say. But I don't know if any of them can lay claim to having a night sky, if we can call it a sky, that accurately represents, as close as we can get it, to the night sky that we would see if we looked up. I am assuming that the stars in Elite Dangerous are in their placements as they would be if it was the year 3302. I don't know what kind of algorithms they would have used to calculate that, because it would mean knowing which directions the stars are going in already. And I don't know if Frontier was able to get hold of such data, or if it's, I don't know. But suffice to say, there is plenty of science in Elite Dangerous. You can see just in this view right now, I mean, we're in a fictitious system. This is, in fact, Shinrata Desra, and you are looking at the Founder's World. And the sun, the local sun, which is currently the only light source in any system, whether it be multi-starred or not. And you can see that the light, or the daytime, shall we say, and the nighttime on this planet is being accurately portrayed by the position of the sun. And if I'm honest, I'm not sure whether that red haze at the top is lens flare effect. I believe that is Barnard's Loop and the Orion Nebula. I suppose I could move it around. I didn't really want to move the shot, but I suppose I can. Yeah, it's a bit of both. There is a bit of lens flaring there, but that is Barnard's Loop in the background. And so we have to give credit to Elite Dangerous, I think, for the science that exists within it, and that is a draw for me. It's a factor. If it was all fantasy, I don't know if it would make that much of a difference to my attraction to playing the game, but certainly knowing that there is an Earth and a moon, and that they've even if it's still there, that even Voyager 2, the probe, is there in the solar system of Sol, in its correct position as it would be if you add roughly 1,300 years-ish. And all that's in there. And it's actually quite amazing. But Elite Dangerous is not all science. Due to the size of the galaxy, and of course the fact that they've made the claim that you can travel to every single star system, of which there are 400 billion in this galaxy, they've had to make some concessions, and you're going to have to just suspend your belief in order to get to places like Sagittarius A, and maybe even hop over to the other side of the galaxy. We all know the limitations of traveling anywhere near the speed of light. So even going beyond that, which is something that can occur even in supercruise, we're going to have to suspend our belief and just accept that it's not all going to be science. I'm not even talking about things like the stations and the trading and the alien ships and stuff like that. Just concentrating on flight, distances. These, as we know today, are impossible to be able to travel at this speed. Some of these things we know will never happen. Faster than light travel, pretty much from what we know, is an impossibility. So the frameshift drive, which pretty much, shall we say, warps you to another place, there is a science behind that. But I don't know what Frontier's explanations are for how the FSD drive works. Because even Star Trek had its own sort of semi-believable explanations into how something would work. Like, for example, the matter-antimatter engines on the Starship Enterprise. Feasible? Well, instead of me giving you the answer to that, I am going to let Lawrence Krauss give you the answer to that by linking a video in the video description to this one, which is something any Elite owner should really watch, even if you only watch the first half, because in terms of a player of Elite Dangerous, you only really need to concentrate on the first half. And this is a video I watched last night and has inspired me just to make a quick video about this, because it's a talk given by Professor Lawrence Krauss on the science of Star Trek, what was possible in the Star Trek series and what is possible today, and what is theoretically possible. What did Star Trek get right? What did Star Trek get wrong? Now, I know that Star Trek doesn't really link to Elite Dangerous other than the fact that both things occur in space, but the first half an hour, the first half of the talk, he discusses flight, basically traveling at the speeds that a lot less than what we go at in Elite Dangerous with the Super Cruise and the frameshift drive. But he also explains at one point in the video how you could travel from one place to another, covering a vast distance in a very short space of time. And it was quite fascinating because it's basically about you controlling space, which might sound a bit out there, but I'm sure Lawrence Krauss can explain it better than I can. But it's basically a case of you not moving, but you're moving space. So with enough antimatter, basically, or enough negative energy, you can move and bend and push space around, and you can push yourself on, or push whatever's behind you, in this case, let's say Earth, away from you, and become closer to our closest star, if that's where you were heading, and then you could cover that distance quickly. He talks about wormholes, but what I found interesting in the video was the discussion of flight, which starts pretty much from the outset of the video, talking about flying at light speeds and warp speeds, and how when Jean-Luc Picard would say, "Make it so," to engage the warp engines, that he's effectively committing suicide. Not just for himself, but he'll be killing everybody else on board the ship, and Lawrence Krauss will explain why. And then it just goes to highlight the absolute and utter impossibility of what a Sidewinder can do in Elite Dangerous, because a Sidewinder, even though it's the smallest ship in the game, is also capable of Super Cruise, is also capable of frameshift driving to a different system. But of course, we have to accept these. We need to accept these in order to be able to travel the distances that we do. If we don't, if the ships were only equipped with an ability to travel close to light speed, it would seem that we would need enough nuclear fusion or enough fuel that would be so many thousands of times the size of the ship anyway. And if we could approach something maybe like a 20% of light speed or something, it would take 2 weeks to get to Sagittarius A or something like this, which I worked out I could get to Sagittarius A in about 10 hours in my ASP if I just jumped and jumped. So that's enough of my blabber. If you're interested in the science of, the lecture is on the science and science fiction of Star Trek, but I did find the discussion of flight was very interesting in terms of Elite Dangerous. I was listening to Lawrence Krauss talking, and it was only Elite Dangerous that was on my mind. It wasn't actually Star Trek, believe it or not. And I was thinking, yeah, he's talking about if you could even approach almost the speed of light, and we have a Super Cruise flight model that surpasses light speed already, and we have a frameshift drive which in the tunnel is doing many thousands of times the speed of light. So I found it quite fascinating, and it brought it home, obviously, that not even in 500, 600, 700 years from now will we be going anywhere near that kind of speed, approaching the speed of light, because of the physical impossibility of it. So I'm going to leave it here with just this short talk from me, and I would definitely recommend that you click on the video that's in the description. It's an hour and a half long. You don't have to listen to it all, but you probably will end up doing that because if you are a science fiction aficionado, which I would assume most people who play Elite Dangerous are into science fiction, or they have some kind of favorite, whether it be Star Trek, Star Wars, cult movies like THX 1138, Logan's Run, whatever it might be, whatever you may be into in your science fiction world, this is going to be interesting. And I'll leave that with you. So click on the video. It's an hour and a half. Watch it. Leave some comments about what you think of it. And yeah, more than anything, enjoy it. This is Rusty Dog, signing off. Bye bye.